Welcome, Smarties! First, what are y'all reading this week? Let's talk about it in the comments. Have you ever wanted to start your week off in winter weather, sweater weather, and then be in sweltering summer by the weekend? Come visit Texas.
Hey, nobody cares about the weather report. Also, why doesn't your face have any pores? Is this AI?
No, I probably went overboard with the CapCut retouch feature. And okay, no more weather. Let's talk about this book recommendation. Are you tired of books preaching to you? Do you already understand the expectations of woke culture and you'd like a reprieve from being taught about it through stories that were supposed to offer escape from the real world? Well, if you like cozy fiction, you will probably love The Wedding Dress Quilt by Jeffree Wyn Itrich, copyright 2024, C&T Publishing. Why her book was printed in China when most of the small publishers and self-published books by Texas authors are made right here in the state, I have no idea. But anywho,
In the last 2 weeks, I finished reading My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney.
and The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. I made reviews of those as well, which you can find on Rumble, which I prefer, and YouTube. I highly recommend both books for fans of high-octane suspense. Also this week, I learned two things. One, you can and should be able to judge a book by its cover because that is a logical part of book marketing. And two, I don't like the cozy fiction genre. So, to rate The Wedding Dress Quilt, I did some research, as usual. Y'all will hear me say that a lot in my videos, about what's expected from the genre. And this book hits most of those marks. So, pick it up if you like cozy fiction. The cover does look like a sewing manual, and that completely works for the story and the genre. Why should you read it? Let's talk about that. According to writerswrite.co.za, a cozy mystery should include these 7 qualities. 1. Avoid gory descriptions of crimes and descriptions of the victims. There was absolutely no gore, so that was classy. Limit the number of suspects to between 4 and 7. There were actually only 2 suspects, and one of them gets knocked out of the running pretty fast. Keep sex behind closed doors. There is zero pornography, thankfully. Set the story in a closed environment, a hotel, island, train, airplane, village, etc. It takes place in a small Texas town where the characters bounce back and forth from their gorgeous houses to local cafes and bars. Choose your era carefully. Most cozy mysteries are set in a previous era. To be honest, I'm glad the book didn't follow that trope. I like variety in well, cock-a-doodle-doo to you too. I like variety in time settings, and this story takes place in the, well, basically now. Number 6, build in meals, breakfast, lunch, etc. While I read it, I was texting my writer friend Leah Nichols about how annoying it was that every few pages they were eating again. There were many lists of entire meals, including main course, family recipes, desserts, and alcoholic beverages. But apparently, I just didn't understand that that is normal for the genre. Thank God for research. I always have something to learn. Number 7, quaint is a good word to describe locations, homes, and characters. Itrich presents the town and regal historical homes and gardens in a way that expresses that the new girl in town does think of them as quaint. And here are some of the main characteristics of all the cozy genres, not just mystery. Number 1, they are character driven. I'd say Ittrich's book is half and half character and plot driven because the lead gets moved through the story by events. 2, they are a slice of life. 3, they feature slightly quirky characters. 4, they are clean, no sex, no gore, no violence. Correct. Well, very minimal violence when there's a rescue from the villain. 5, they take place in small, closely knit communities. 6, they are satisfying, gentle, intelligent stories. If you personally like the genre, I think this book will be satisfying to you. 7, humor is required. 8, they revolve around everyday life, hobbies, quiet moments, bakeries, libraries, cake shops, etc. Yes, all of the above. The article on Writer's Right was written by Elaine Dodge, author, graphic designer, and ghostwriter. Personal opinions. Based on the writing, I bet the author is a very sweet person. And if you like the squeaky clean movies where the city girl falls for the cowboy, this is gonna be yo thang. This line on page 18 made me laugh. Lisbeth often turned heads because she didn't look like other women. I couldn't help but think of the romantic comedy trope of, I'm not like other girls. At the bottom of page 80, chapter 7, when they're talking about Cajun food, I could not help but think about that Saturday Night Live skit with James McAvoy, where this pretentious couple is acting like they're very culturally educated because they pronounce the city Nolans and they won't stop. It makes me laugh too much. Anywho,
Nolans.
the multiple town tours reminded me of some scenes from Deadly Keepsakes by Anita Dickinson. The author explains the town architecture and history like she's introducing the reader to Texas. And it's similar because an unsuspecting beautiful lady inherits a huge house and a mystery. By chapter 3, yeah, it took me way too long, but I finally noticed that Itrich was employing sympathy to make the readers bond to the lead, which is a legitimate method. James Scott Bell lists identification, sympathy, likability, and inner conflict as the main methods to bond your readers with your lead. I'm just not the type of reader that's interested in a lady who's basically a Princess Peach, but that's a legitimate character type and enjoyable to lots of other readers. Here's some nitpicking that's inconsequential since, well, the book got published and obviously it didn't matter to anybody that was important to the publishing process. Number 1. With editor and author Alyssa Matesic and BookFox always reminding unpublished authors to remove all unnecessary words from their manuscript, I hesitated at she walked down to her car, followed by the family, opened the passenger side door of her car, and lifted out Sophie's crate. This prepositional phrase was unnecessary. But
It doesn't matter.
hello. 2. The author often uses one of author Abby Emmons's pet peeves, saying, began to. If someone commences an action, we're supposed to write, she walked up the stairs, not she began to walk up the stairs. But I presume that in cozy fiction,
It doesn't matter.
Number 3, top of page 43 and bottom of page 71, and even later on several pages, in dialogue, numbers are supposed to be written in words, not numerals. But
It doesn't matter.
Hallmark movie style checklist. Drop dead gorgeous city girl with sad backstory. Drop dead gorgeous cowboy with sad backstory. Quirky best friend with a wild streak and an orientation that's up to the reader's interpretation. Day drinking. Hot cowboy is more than he seems. Flirty horse race. More day drinking.
Last thing I need is people to think I'm some drunk, alky loser.
Getting caught in the rain, Stetson hat, tight jeans, old inherited house, day drinking like it's a personality trait, unstable ex-boyfriend, villain's monologue at the climax. At the end, there's a fun Q&A in case you're reading it for the book club, and I kind of am, but I can't go to the meeting, so I answered the questions. Throughout the book, the lead's life changes. Do you feel she also changed or only her circumstances? The story is plot-driven, so the circumstances changed more than the character. There's only one character that the lead struggles to stand up to at the beginning, and she eventually gets feisty with that person. She gained a new ability by going to the gun range, but other than that, she started strong-willed and unbelievably gorgeous, and ended that same way. Did the main character's quilting and creativity help her along her journey? There are several scenes that describe her using a sewing machine and making a quilt. When we sink into our passions and hobbies, they can take our minds off of our trouble for a while. Would the story have played out differently in a setting other than Texas? Of course, a city will have its own personality, and if it was set in a different state, at least one thing would change. Nobody would have been encouraging the lead to get a license to carry. Which moment prompted the strongest emotional reaction for you? When we learn Travis abandoned his wife after a tragedy. He lost major points on that page for me. I hope before he gets remarried, he goes to counseling and learns that tragedy can happen to anyone, anytime. That's why there's a part of marriage vows where we promise better or worse, Trav. In a movie, who would you cast in the leading roles? Penelope Mitchell could be the lead. I saw her in Apartment 212 and fell in love. I guess Travis could be Lucas Till. Penelope and Lucas are almost the same height, but I think that would be fitting because the lead's sassy attitude alone is Texas size tall. If you could ask the author one question, what would it be? Did she get paid to advertise for Shinerbach? No, seriously. Would she ever consider co-writing a novel with an unheard of, unpublished, introverted, uneducated, aspiring author? What a deal!
Oh, no thanks.
What was the most surprising, challenging, or intriguing aspect of the story? For me, it was the locked room upstairs. That was solved quickly, but until that point, I was really curious about it. What do you think is next for the cast? I'm sure they're going to continue being wealthy and incredulously good-looking people. Well, good-looking people, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy Itrich's book, which I hear has a sequel now. And remember, compassion is love plus action. Have a great day. As Columbo likes to say, one more thing. I joked about the day drinking, but in the little counties I've lived in, liquor stores and crime rates are increasing in numbers simultaneously. It's a weird, sad, connected statistic that has put my own family, including adults and some children, at risk. So if you need help with an addiction, here are some places to turn. The list is not comprehensive, and if any information is erroneous, I apologize. I copy-pasted it from the internet. James Scott Bell identified, I keep wanting to say identify. I identify as a moron. Okay, that should work. Self-deprecating humor. Personally like the genre, yeah. Get that G. Let's try that again. I think I just slurred through that line. Maybe I've been day drinking.